So today we're going to be talking about PRAView, which is our tool for monitoring commercialized drug safety surveillance through social media. So my name is Michael Durwin. As you were told, I'm Director of Social Intelligence at PRA Health Sciences. For any of you who are following along on Twitter or want to spend a little time in Instagram this afternoon, if you use this hashtag, you'll find not only screenshots from this presentation, but we'll put up a link at the end of this presentation to the entire slide deck so you can go through it at your leisure. And you can also follow along at PRA Sciences Twitter channel. So today we're talking about adverse events. As we know, or as many of you know, which was a surprise to me, that AEs are responsible for 100,000 deaths in the U.S., making them the fourth leading cause of death right after heart disease, cancer, and stroke. So why are we talking about social media in regards to adverse events? Well, 79% of the U.S. and 45% of the world population is currently using social media, and that is only growing, especially with what's going on in the world today. There's been a big shift toward virtual interaction. This leads to a total of 3.5 billion human beings using social media. 87% of them are sharing information about their health just on Facebook. That doesn't even include blogs, forums, and Twitter, Instagram channels like that. 1% said online communities play a role in their healthcare decisions. Now, folks are using these forums to not only get support, but advice and feedback. And even caregivers are getting in on using social media for information and support. In fact, the patient social communities have 24 times the activity as health industry websites. So while your brand and many brands do host their own forums, blogs, and social sites, the main social sites like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook host far, far, far more interactivity. In fact, every aspect of people's healthcare, whether it's a positive interaction or negative interaction, is shared on social media. And essentially, social media is where real people are talking in real time about the drug treatments and the adverse events that may accompany them. And this is very, very important. It basically goes back to the idea of fish where the fish are. We know where people are talking about their healthcare, so we need to go there and we need to look at what they're doing. So now a little bit about PRAView. So PRAView can currently look at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. It can also look at public blogs, public forums. It's very important to note that everything we see is public. So we're not seeing direct messages. We're not seeing anything shared with friends and family. We're not seeing anything on private forums or private pages and groups. So how does this work? Well, we start with a social network. Then we use something called an API, which is an active program interface, which is essentially a tool that allows one database to talk to another. So we're talking to the databases for Twitter, Instagram, blogs, Facebook, etc. And then we use artificial intelligence to find just the conversations we're looking for that would host a mention of an adverse event. Now, internally, to find these conversations, we work with our PRA's therapeutic experts. We work with our partners, and we even work with the FDA's adverse events database to come up with all the industry terms that patients may use around an adverse event. We use our own social listening in the social communities that PRA hosts to better understand the patient language. So as we all know, pharma speak is much different than regular people talk. So it's our job to translate what we in the industry use for terminology and all the different language around treatments, around side effects, around adverse events, translate that into patient language, then look for that patient language on brand channels. So when we talk about brand channels, I want to give you an example. Brands have channels for just their main brand, as PRA does. Many of the brands on this call will host pages on social media or accounts on Instagram, YouTube, things like that for specific products and services they have. So I'm going to give you an example of how we monitor Facebook. So for any of you who host a Facebook page, you engage with your users through conversations. So as you post a piece of content, the conversations start popping up. What we do is we apply PRAView to identify the specific conversation that's happening that shows an adverse event. So as people are saying, hey, thanks, this is a great post, or asking a question, we may find somebody saying, hey, my hair is falling out. that is something that we would immediately identify and then be able to escalate to the brand, who can then share it with the FDA or whoever their governing body is. So our platform can look at all sorts of types of messages. So this just gives you an example of what we looked at on Twitter and Facebook. So wall post comments, comments on your ads, private messages in your brand accounts. So we talked about private versus public. If it's your brand account and they're sending you a private message that gives you access to the private messages, we can look at those. We can also look at direct messages sent to your brand on your Twitter account. Mentions, retweets, retweets with comments, news follows, etc. So here's a great example. So this is a post on one of our communities. We host a community called Stronger Together Against Ankylosing Spondylitis. We have about a dozen communities right now that are indication specific under the Stronger Together Against brand. And we posted this image, negative mind will give you a positive life. Well, if you look carefully, you can see so true, and then somebody posted mind over pain. Now, pain would be a word that we would look for. In this case, it's not showing an adverse event. We would have to vet this, this conversation, realize that it's not an adverse event, it's just a comment, and not pass it up. So we would decide how to escalate that. But it pops up in our smart box in real time. As you can see, we can see the text right here. And then we have the opportunity, and then it also comes through in our email, it comes through in text alerts. So we get it as soon as it's posted. We got this, as you can see, next to the person's name and where they posted it. We can see that it was only posted a few seconds ago. So within seconds, we see it in our dashboard. And then once it's in our dashboard, we can decide what to do with it. Now, depending on how we are engaged with the brand, we can set this to automatically forward to the brand, where they can make the decision about whether to escalate the conversation, or we can perform one of these activities. We can hide the post, we can email the message forward, we can save the message, we can translate it. So our platform is multilingual and global, so we're running up against conversations from China, from Italy, from Germany, South America, etc. We can translate anything that Google Translate can translate, we can, and we can delete the conversation. This platform works on mobile, so we can get our alerts right on our phone if we're out of town, away from our desktop. And we can, if we are asked to by the client, we can dig into the conversation. So this is an example of how the conversation is broken up into different segments. This example is using the coronavirus because currently we're tracking social conversations around the coronavirus. But as you can see, the AI automatically breaks down the conversations into different kinds of segments, and we can dig into those segments into the actual conversations. And here's some static screenshots that aren't quite so jittery. I apologize for the camera work. As you can see, we can see who the user is, we can see the date that it's published, we can see the platform, we can see the actual conversation, and all we have to do is click on the date and it'll take us right to this tweet. Now, as I said, our platform is global, it's multilingual, it's 24/7. This is kind of a little bit of the background of what we see, so we can see the total number of mentions, posts, and net sentiment, potential impressions, we can see the authors, we can see data such as the top hashtags that are involved in the conversation, the trends at the bottom, the geographic location, even age demographics, and some of the top phrases. So if there is an adverse event that we're seeing a lot, it should pop up in those cloud tags. Now, as we're looking at this global map, it's not super helpful to see that the United States has the heaviest bit of conversation, but in fact, we can go down to the street corner level to see what conversation is being had and where. And then, of course, we can click in the platform directly to these posts. In this instance, we're seeing a couple of Instagram posts. Now, we mentioned the fact that we're looking at this real time. This is a stream showing real-time conversations. Again, we're using our coronavirus tracker, but we're seeing conversations. At the time we took the screenshot, this was several weeks ago, so we're seeing a little bit of a delay. Not as many people are talking about the coronavirus. This is much faster today. It's clicking by very quickly. So we're seeing live streams from Twitter, from Instagram and Facebook. And for those who are wondering why Facebook and Instagram are shared, it's because, for those that don't know, Facebook owns Instagram, so we kind of mix them together. Then we're looking at blogs and forums. Now, this is set up specifically around these 4 channels, or 5 channels and 4 channel segments, but this can be customized to look at any channel. So if we're looking at your Facebook account and you don't have a forum, then you'll be able to see live streaming conversations here. And this is basically just a dashboard that we set up for you to view it. And this just makes it easier for your team to log in anytime they want, 24/7 from any computer to see what's going on in conversations for your brand. Now, why do we like this platform? It offers a lot. It's real time, provides instant alerts. It even allows us to go back 27 months and look at legacy data. It's global, it's multilingual, it allows a lot of context, and it's very flexible in what we look at.